Johan Cruyff, the Cruyff Turn. The moment happened in a flash, but it echoed for decades. 1974, World Cup, Netherlands versus Sweden. Cruyff had his back to the defender near the corner flag, nothing obvious on. Then boom, he faked a pass, rolled the ball behind his standing leg, spun, and took off in the opposite direction. The Swedish defender, still searching for his ankles. No one had ever seen it before. That wasn't a trick move from the streets. It was invented right there, on the biggest stage in the world, mid-match. And suddenly, kids around the globe were doing it in backyards, training sessions, and muddy school pitches. The move didn't get Cruyff a goal. It didn't make the highlight reel for a winning strike. But it changed the game, literally. Coaches started teaching it. Defenders started fearing it. The Cruyff Turn became a permanent fixture in football's DNA. The best part? It worked at every level, whether you were an elite midfielder breaking a press or just trying to look cool in Sunday League. Antonín Panenka, the Panenka Penalty. June 20th, 1976, European Championship Final, Czechoslovakia versus West Germany. The scores were level after extra time, and it all came down to penalties. Up stepped Antonín Panenka with the weight of a continent on his shoulders. The German keeper Sepp Maier, one of the best in the world, stood ready. Everyone expected power, or maybe a tight corner. Instead, Panenka walked up and chipped it, soft, floating, dead centre, while Maier dove to the side. Silence turned into shock, then disbelief. Then a roar. That penalty didn't just win a European title. It shook football tradition to the core. No one had done it before. A penalty like that? Against the Germans? In a final? People thought he'd lost his mind. Some called it disrespectful. But Panenka wasn't trying to humiliate. He studied keepers, practiced that chip night after night. He knew that in high-pressure moments, most goalkeepers dive early. All he had to do was trust the technique. The goal became legend. The name stuck, and the Panenka was born. Years later, the move reappeared. Zidane did it in a World Cup final, Pirlo in a quarter-final. Ramos, Totti, Balotelli, Benzema, they all brought it back under the spotlight. But with every attempt, the risk stayed the same. If you miss, you're a meme. If you score, you're an artist. Diego Maradona, the Marseille Turn. Mid-80s Napoli. Defenders didn't just try to stop Maradona, they tried to trap him. Double teams, pressing him against the touchline, swarming with tackles. None of it worked, because Maradona had a way of spinning out of chaos like he had oil on his boots. The Marseille Turn wasn't created by him, but Maradona made it feel dangerous. He'd receive the ball with a marker on his back, step on it with his left, spin his body, drag it again with his right, and burst into open grass. No wasted movement, just one slick, spinning escape move that shredded entire midfields. He pulled it off in packed Serie A games where defenders didn't show mercy. Back then, tackles came with bruises. And yet, Maradona kept rolling. The move wasn't elegant. It was gritty, powerful, pure street football sharpened for survival. It became a signature, not because of how it looked, but because of how often it worked when no other option existed. The move became a go-to for a generation of tens and midfielders. It's still taught today in youth academies, often under a different name, but always linked to the same legacy. Ronaldinho, the Elastico. You could be the best defender on the planet and still get twisted by Ronaldinho with one flick of the ankle. The Elastico wasn't new when he arrived, but no one had ever pulled it off like this. Not with so much rhythm, not with so much disrespect. Right foot rolls the ball out, same foot whips it back in, all in one motion. Defender lunges left, ball's already gone right. In full speed, it looks like sorcery. In slow motion, it's worse. You can see the victim realise he bit too early, too hard, too late. Ronaldinho used it like a dagger. Whether it was in La Liga or the Champions League, he'd unleash the move in tight spaces and still come out smiling. One of the most iconic versions, Against Chelsea in 2006, he faced 3 defenders, barely moved from the spot, pulled out the Elastico and slipped in a no-step toe poke that made headlines. Defenders didn't even know what part of his body to watch. For Ronaldinho, the Elastico wasn't just a trick, it was his fingerprint. It matched the way he played. Fluid, fearless, loose. Street football brought to the biggest stages. Every time he used it, it sent a message. I'm in control here. After him, others tried to copy. Cristiano Ronaldo tried it in his early years. Neymar used it in his Santos days, but no one ever brought the same charisma. Fans didn't just cheer, they laughed, clapped, gasped. It felt like magic had been dropped onto a football pitch. Zinedine Zidane, the smooth roulette. But before we delve into him, please hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you. Now moving on. With Zidane, there was no rush, no panic, just control. That's what made his roulette so special. Where Maradona spun to break through pressure, Zidane glided through it like gravity didn't apply. Midfield crowded, ball stuck in traffic, Zidane had the solution. He'd stop the ball with one foot, turn his back and sweep it with the other, rolling into open space like the chaos behind him never existed. The whole move took less than a second, but it could erase 2 markers and flip the game's tempo in a heartbeat. He used it everywhere. World Cups, Champions League finals, El Clásicos. But one moment stands above the rest. 2006 World Cup against Brazil. Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Kaká on one side. Zidane, 34 years old, on the other. And he danced. One roulette left 2 defenders chasing shadows and the ball still stuck to his boots. The world watched a masterclass unfold. What made Zidane's version different was how he did it in tight lanes under heavy pressure. His frame was tall, his pace wasn't electric, but his technique was flawless. You couldn't force him into a mistake. He'd just pirouette, roll the ball forward and keep the rhythm flowing. For younger players, it became one of the first skill moves to learn. Easy to replicate, impossible to match. His balance, vision and timing turned a basic spin into a signature move, one that defenders came to expect but still couldn't stop. Cristiano Ronaldo, the Ronaldo chop. Every time Cristiano ran at a defender, it came with a warning. You blink, you're done. The Ronaldo chop wasn't flashy for the sake of show. It was a weapon built for speed and angles. Right foot cuts the ball behind the standing leg. Body shifts mid-sprint, defender slides by trying to guess wrong. It worked in transition, in tight spaces, and even on the touchline. He started using it heavily during his early years at Manchester United. One-on-ones became contests of timing. Defenders waited for the step-over barrage, but the chop was the ambush. You'd think he was going wide. Then the cut came sharp and sudden. Ball's inside, he's gone. Biggest moment? Euro 2012 versus the Czech Republic. Ronaldo took on 2 defenders near the corner of the box, pulled off the chop at full pace, shifted the ball to his right and lashed it into the far corner. Clinical, electric, unstoppable. The chop wasn't just effective, it was Cristiano's rhythm. It matched how he evolved, always sharp, always direct. Even when he moved to Real Madrid and toned down the flair, the chop stayed in rotation. It didn't need setup. It didn't need flash. Just half a step and the window opened. Di Maria. The Rabona. In most dressing rooms, the Rabona was something you pulled off in training to get laughs, or maybe humiliate a teammate. For Di Maria, it became a serious tool. Left-footed, right-winged and constantly stuck in positions where a normal cross wouldn't do, he turned the Rabona into a functional solution. And when it came off, it didn't just look cool, it cut defences apart. The most famous one came in 2014, when Di Maria was playing for Manchester United. Match against Everton, ball rolling slightly behind him on the edge of the box, and without missing a beat, he launched a perfect Rabona cross to Radamel Falcao. Assist delivered. Crowd stunned, Opponents baffled. This wasn't a circus trick. Di Maria had been using the Rabona since his early days in Argentina. It started out of necessity. He's heavily left-footed, and when defenders forced him to the right, he needed a way to still whip in a dangerous ball without switching feet or slowing down. The Rabona gave him that. At Real Madrid, PSG, even with Argentina, he's pulled it out in pressure games, not just friendlies. Coaches weren't always fans. It looked risky. But when the delivery is that accurate and the execution is clean, there's no real argument. Lionel Messi, the dribble maze. Defenders knew exactly what was coming. Left foot, low centre of gravity, tight touches, and they still couldn't stop it. Messi didn't need tricks. He didn't need a bag of stepovers. He needed half a second and 2 yards of space. That was enough to rip through a defensive line like it wasn't even there. His dribbling wasn't built on flashy moves, it was built on timing, angles, and control. He'd glide forward, pulling defenders in, then shift his weight the slightest bit, and just like that, the gap opened. One of the most brutal examples, Jerome Boateng, 2015, Champions League semi-final. Messi dropped him to the turf with a single feint. The internet still hasn't recovered. Even at walking pace, Messi could carve up teams. Against Athletic Bilbao in the 2015 Copa del Rey final, he picked up the ball near the halfway line, shrugged off 3 defenders on the touchline, and dribbled straight through traffic before smashing the ball in at the near post. All of it, left foot. What made his dribbling impossible to read was how little he telegraphed. He didn't open his hips or look up constantly. Everything was instinct, done at the last possible moment. By the time defenders reacted, he was already gone. Coaches couldn't teach it, defenders couldn't time it. Analysts could only explain it after the fact. Neymar Jr., the rainbow flick. Every time Neymar shaped up to roll the ball up his heel, you could hear the stadium split in two. One half holding their breath, the other half waiting to get mad. The rainbow flick is the most playful and controversial move in football. And Neymar turned it into a global event. He'd been doing it since his Santos days, but it truly exploded in Europe. In League One, defenders weren't just getting beaten, they were getting clowned. Ball pinned between his feet, flicked over the head of the marker, then chased down with a grin. In training, it gets laughs. In matches, it gets fouls. Neymar didn't care. He pulled it off against Rennes, Toulouse, and even in Champions League warm-ups. If the ball was in the right spot and the defender was too eager, he went for it. But interestingly, the rainbow flick existed long before Neymar, JJ Okocha, Nielsen, even Pelé had flirted with it. But Neymar took it from rare trick to regular threat. Social media helped. One flick would go viral within minutes. Fans loved it. Some teammates did too, but referees, opponents, not so much. There were games where it triggered full-on brawls. Some defenders saw it as disrespect. Some said it crossed the line between showmanship and provocation. Neymar shrugged it off. For him, it was part of the game. Lamine Yamal, the Trivela revival. He's 18, plays like he's 26, and already has a signature. One most pros still struggle to control, the Trivela. Outside of the foot curlers, whipped in with precision. And Yamal isn't just pulling them off in training, he's doing it at the highest level, under pressure, with defenders closing in from every side. Barcelona versus PSG 2024. Minute 12. Yamal takes on Nuno Mendes down the wing, drops a shoulder and slices in a cross, outside of the left boot, perfectly curled to Rafinha at the back post. The assist? Smooth. The delivery? Absurd. It wasn't luck. It was planned. He's done it multiple times already, across La Liga and the Champions League. And the scary part? He's still growing into his body. Trivelas used to be rare. Ricardo Quaresma made them famous. Roberto Carlos bent physics with one. But in recent years, it faded. Too risky, too flashy. Then, Yamal brought it back without the drama. No no-look antics, no stepovers first. Just a clean outside foot whip at the exact moment it matters. His technique isn't just flashy, it's calculated. He sets up his body like a traditional cross, then turns his ankle late. The defenders expect one shape. He delivers another. And goalkeepers, they're caught leaning every time. So now you've seen the moves that made legends untouchable. But here's the real question. If you could master one of these signature moves instantly, with world-class precision, which one are you pulling out first? The rainbow flick to embarrass? The Trivela to shock? Or the Cruyff Turn to ghost past anyone? Comment down below as you leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos like this one.